period, but I appreciate the.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So, and if you, I'll just kind of remind you, Burgess, what we do here is you won't be able to see me, but I'll have to like kind of say, hey, we're going to cut to a commercial break, and then we just kind of cut down.
Okay.
And I've got 3 trivia questions, and if you know the answer to them, don't answer until we come back from break, because we don't want to ruin it for the audience. Okay.
Yeah, but warning, it might be curling.
Trivia,
Or darts,
We'll do my thing.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me just tell you ahead of time. We have football, and baseball. Okay.
All right.
So we got normal ones. Last time I had ones like on darts. Russell, he almost killed me for that one.
Yes, I almost threw a dart at him.
He almost threw a dart. Yeah. All right. And before we get started, Burgess, are you running for Congress?
Yes. I'm actually running for the 4th district district seat. That's one that Beer Love had, and now a Democrat is controlling. So, and that's one of the reasons we're talking about. This one of the reasons I decided to run. I realized I need to that seat back, and so I have to be part of that solution for sure.
Okay. And it's funny, Vern, he couldn't make it today, but he says, man, I'd love to have asked Burgess a couple of questions, and it's a little bit political, and then, we just feel comfortable with whatever you feel like.
Okay.
Okay. And if you guys are ready, you're all set?
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to
There you
start.
go.
We're going to start right now. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Russell Jackman, as Vern Glenn is off today. And this is a show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. And at each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And when we come back, we have a special guest, former Raiders safety Burgess Owens, who was part of the 1980 championship team that beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. That's one where it's like, I could have made $1 million because I knew the Raiders were going to beat Ron Jaworski and the Eagles. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, barely. I mean, you're talking about, I was 10 years old, so it was not, it was an earlier part of my life,
Yeah.
But nobody was taking bets at in the 4th grade. They weren't covering action in the 3rd and 4th grade.
No,
out of Del Mar School.
No. Okay. I gotcha. All right. Let's see here. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding, get this, 7.5%. And with the Fed dropping interest rates, where else can you get 7.5% secured by real estate very conservatively? Check them out.
Close the door.
Yeah, check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. And I think I heard Burgess on the phone there. Burgess, you with us, right? Burgess? Oh,
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. He'll be with us. So when we come back, we're going to interview Burgess. We lost him. He'll have to call. I'm sure he'll call right back.
That's what we call technical difficulties.
Yeah. Burgess is a good guy, though.
Yeah,
we had him on a couple of years ago.
And I met him back in like 1992 in Sacramento at a. I used to be the reporter for a newsletter called The Bounce, and there was a Raiders event that was going on out there. I don't even remember what charity it was for, but Otis Sistrunk was there, and Burgess Owens was there, and I almost said Mary. Yeah, I know. How many other Burgesses are there?
I know, not too many of them.
Yeah.
I know, it's funny because his last name is Owens, so sometimes you want to go Owen Burgess.
Well, I really do, because my brother's name is Owen.
Oh, gotcha.
So it really does make me want to say that. That's funny.
All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be right back.
Yeah, my brother's name is Owen. Up there.
Are you with us, my friend?
I am so.
No,
That's
not,
all right.
not a problem. Not a problem.
We did the first break.
Yeah, so that was a small one anyway. So now we'll get to introduce you and.
Okay. Our guy. All right, we're ready to rock and roll.
Okay. All right. Let me save this file, and then we'll get right on it. I haven't talked to Deb for a while. Have you?
Who's that?
Deb Brown.
I haven't. No, I haven't. It's been quite a while, matter of fact.
That's how you and I got introduced to each other.
It has been a long time, to be honest with you, about a couple of years.
All right, so let me just hold on here. This is going to be for the March. So this will air this Saturday, March 7th. Okay. There's that one there. here, and then we are ready to go. All right. All right. Get my headphones back on, and 3, 2.
Yeah, I got the high end. Actually, these ones have that hum going. Now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, put the other ones on. And again, that's the only reason that's important is just so you know not to do that.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Russell Jackman. On the phone, we have former Raiders safety Burgess Owens, who was part of the 1980 championship team that beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Burgess, welcome back to the Best of Investing.
And thank you so much. Looking forward to chatting with you, Russell, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now, the audience didn't know this, but we found out not too long ago you're actually running for Congress now, aren't you?
I am. And, it's interesting because I'm one of those guys who said for many, many years, never, ever would I be a politician. But what happens to me, it's interesting. I've had a desire since I left the game in '83 to work and spend some time with at-risk kids. So I've been doing that for the last couple of years. And as we work with young men and women coming out of the juvenile system, make sure they don't go back in, and having some success with it, I realized about maybe 9 months ago that my kids here in Utah, kids across the country, do not have a chance unless we're back to house. We need to make sure the policies are on their side to make sure they can go out and have a good chance and live the American dream like we all have a desire to do. So it was a decision then, and I'm really excited about it, and we're making a good run at it for sure.
And you're running for the Democratic seat, right?
No, we're running for the Republican seat. The seat that Mia Love lost back a couple years ago, and Bill McAdams, now the Democrat, is actually in that seat. The district I'm running in is a very, very deep red district. The values are the ones that I grew up in, deep down Florida. God, country, patriotism, all those things that I think keep that hope alive in many Americans that just want to make sure they can one day live the American dream. And so with those values here, I want to make sure I can represent that, take that to D.C. versus having D.C. values come here. So we're really excited about it, and I look forward to making a difference. By the way, you can find me at Burgess4Utah.com.
Okay. And Burgess, Vern wasn't here, Vern Glenn from Channel 5, who's our other co-host, but he said, when you interview Burgess, ask him this question. And Vern is very good about being just kind of middle of the road. He doesn't really, let you know conservative or liberal. He just kind of says it like it is. So he wanted to find out what your opinion of Bernie Sanders was, like the kind of socialist he is. Because I guess there's different kinds of socialists.
Yeah, there is. And I'll be right up front. It's important that we do understand the ideology. So I'll be very, very upfront with you, because I watched what socialism, Marxism, and communism can do to any society. I kind of grew up in a great community in Tallahassee in the '60s, segregated, KKK, all those things. But the community I had was built on the concepts our country's been built upon: free market, education, a great love of our history, and understand that the Constitution allows all of us to one day live the American dream. Bernie is a Marxist. Bernie is a socialist. Bernie's idea is so different than we here in this country, the Judeo-Christian values that our country was built upon, that allows us, every single generation, to be better at looking at each other from inside out versus outside in. Everything that's going to come out of Bernie's mouth is divisive. It's breaking up black and white, young and old, rich and poor. I mean, you name it. That's what they do. Our goal, my goal, in the vision of our country, is we look at character, we look at meritocracy, we look at the opportunity that everyone in this country has the opportunity to find their dreams and happiness if they go at it the right way. I am happy that Bernie is now at the front point. We need to have this conversation, guys. We need to know what our country stands for, and we have a chance to finally do that.
Well, it's interesting too, because this is coming from someone like you who said he grew up in a very segregated community. You don't usually hear that from someone who was brought up, with the kind of race issues that were going on when you were younger.
And can I speak to that, because this is why it's so important that we learn our true history. Karl Marx said back in the 1800s, the first battleground is the rewriting of history. If we learn our history, learn what we've done, we the people together, even when we're still trying to get it right. We weren't perfect, but this country is one that, first of all, roots for the underdog, that pays anyone who understands the idea of meritocracy, and anyone who goes into business that learns how to serve their community becomes very wealthy. My community, just a little background context. The black community in the 40s, 50s, and 60s led our country in the growth of the middle class. Men matriculated from college, men committed to marriage over 70%, and over 40% of entrepreneurs. There was no other community that was as competitive, minority community, as competitive as the black community. That's because we were tied into the American dream. We were tied into the concepts of our forefathers, which is education, God, industry, and family. Those four tenets allowed us to truly live a blessed life. Again, I grew up in the 60s and I saw it. So it's not hypothetical to me.
Yeah.
It's important that we get back to that and make sure our country recognizes we can all get there if we fight against the godless ideology of Marxism and socialism.
Well, and we're definitely going to talk a little football in a bit, but Vern also wanted to find out if you think that anyone can beat Trump.
Anybody
can beat Trump.
I'm sorry.
If anyone can beat Donald Trump right now.
I don't think so. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Guys. First of all, Americans are feeling good. And they're feeling, when I say feeling good, they're feeling good in their pocketbooks. We have the lowest unemployment in black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, across the board. Veterans, where you have that kind of success, and you have someone standing for America, saying America first, bring back these manufacturing jobs here. Then you have, for instance, in my community, the black community, a race that voted 8% for President Trump, or candidate Trump, was almost 4 years ago, that now 35%, according to Rasmussen's poll, are trending toward voting for President Trump. So we have Americans waking up saying, I love this American dream. I don't want to be told that we cannot get along. So I personally believe that he's, particularly with what he's going up against, the socialists, that he's going to win this big time.
Well, especially if he brings home the troops. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that Obama had actually sent over more troops overseas for fighting the war than Bush did. A lot of people don't realize that. One other thing Vern wanted to ask again, because I'm only asking this stuff because he's not here.
Hey, by the way, I missed Vern. I remember.
Yeah.
I missed talking with him, so let him know.
Yeah. Absolutely. He'll probably get a podcast of this. What about the sudden resignation of Chris Matthews from MSNBC? What do you think about that?
It's interesting. Well, it's interesting because I've watched the left go after conservatives. It's interesting to now see that they're actually doing the same to their own. I don't know a lot about what happened with Chris Matthews. I really have not done deep into that. Obviously, whatever he was doing was not good, or he would have fought to stay in there. But and to say the least, I mean, it's one of those things that to me is not a real major factor. I would like to say this regarding what we just talked about before. What we're seeing with President Trump, and this is why it's so important to America across the board, what we all expect, and here in my district and across the country, is two things. We expect fairness and people keeping their word. We just want to be, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, fairness and keeping your word is paramount to both sides. And that's actually what we're seeing now. We're seeing the last 3 years of a party being very unfair, and we're seeing in my particular district someone who ran as a moderate is saying has not kept his word in terms of what he's going to represent. So I think we're coming back to where we can finally start having conversations, and that's what I look forward to. Across the board, every single, no matter what party we're part of, if we focus on our solutions, on education for our kids, make sure that God is available to all of us, no matter what our faith might be. That every man and woman who wants to work can find a job and work, and that the family unit in which we respect womanhood, God's womanhood, and understand the responsibility of men to make sure that happens, we will be a great country and one that we can all be excited about and give it to our kids.
All right. Hey, Burgess, this is great stuff. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little football since this is a sports show. We're gonna cut to our first commercial break, and again, if you know the answer to this question, don't say anything until we come back to break. First trivia question: who was the only Jets player to score on a kickoff return in the 1970s? So in the 1970s, there was only one Jets player to score on a kickoff return. Who was that player? All right. Stay with us. You are listening to Sports Econ 101, and we're going to be right back. All right. So we're cutting to a break here.
Is that a layup or what, guys?
Don't say anything until we get back.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me save this file here. Okay. Yeah, no, this is good stuff. We try to talk about the business aspect of sports, and so every once in a while we get a little political stuff, but
Okay.
but it's good. Okay, so I'm just saving the file right here, so that's what takes a little bit. And let me see, that was our second segment here. Okay, so this one more time. All right. And oops. No wonder I couldn't hear. I had the right on the left and the left on the right. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. Vern is off today. First trivia question: who was the only Jets player to score on a kickoff return in the 1970s? Russell, do you know the answer?
I was just going to throw out Eric Metcalf.
Okay.
I can't.
Burgess, do you know the answer?
Yes, yours truly.
That is correct.
Oh.
Yeah. Back when the body would respond to your mind's command.
I thought this is funny because I was doing a little research because I was trying to remember, which I knew you had a Super Bowl ring, but I was trying to remember which one. And I see in Wikipedia that you were the only Jets player, because you played for the Jets prior to the Raiders in 1973. In all the 1970s, there was only one kickoff return, and it was Burgess. That's why he says you got a layup question for me.
Yeah.
I was wondering. I wonder if he even knows that about himself.
And can I just add a little bit? I want to add a little business
Sure.
kind of perspective when I think about what the Raiders did in those days of the Jets. For many of your young audience out there don't realize that the Raiders used to win football games all the time in those days.
Oh yeah.
Motley Crue. And actually, it was an environment that players wanted to be with, because Al Davis had this idea. He had this focus. All the other stuff did not matter. I mean, it didn't matter. The politics of the country didn't matter. The color of the player didn't matter. It was all about just win, baby. He had this environment, and I kind of equate it to our country. Those who needed a second chance, it could not fit on any other team. They were too old, too rebellious, whoever. They fit just right with the Raiders, because at the end of the day, they came to this culture and gave their very best. Many of us realized this is our last chance. This is it. If we don't do it right this time, it's over.
Well, what happened with you specifically with going from the Jets to the Raiders?
That's a good question, because this was 1979. I had just been appointed to be chairman of this committee to look into racism in the NFL.
Huh.
At this time, they did not have a black quarterback, black middle linebacker, black centers. Those were positions, leadership positions set aside for white players. Huh. So I was taking this committee to look into that. And in those days too, we had something called blackballing. When you made too much trouble, it was not a free agency process. You made too much trouble, you'll find yourself out of the game. And so when I was traded to the Raiders, I literally thought that my career was over with. And I remember calling Gene Upshaw and said, "Hey, Gene, I had no idea it come to this point where I might be out of the game." He said, "Listen, Burgess, Al Davis could care less about that stuff. He just wants to win." And that is exactly why it was such a unique place to be. And then many of your audience that don't realize how unique and different Al Davis was in an environment where winning was more important to him than the dollar bill. So anyway, it was a good time to be in place there, and I'm just so thankful that I was one of those guys, the Motley Crue, that had that great Super Bowl win.
Wow, that one was a fairly easy win for you guys too. Relatively
it's
speaking.
interesting. Think about this. We were the first wild card team.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
So we were a team that when we came together, I think about 13 different players. That they released a lot of guys like Ken Stabler, some of you might remember that name, and a few other players. Jack Tatum, when they traded him off. So it was a very unique place, and we a combination of guys who are so tired of losing on the previous team. We got it together. We focused on what it took to make it happen, and we just won game after game. It was just like an exciting place.
Well, you had Jim Plunkett from the Boston Patriots. You know, I mean, they were terrible back then.
And also
Jim, and actually, again, that second chance I talked about, Jim had left the Patriots where we used to beat them up twice a year, along with other teams. Went to the 49ers where he sat on the bench, came to the Raiders, sat on the bench, and then when Pastor Brady got hurt, Jim had a chance to do his thing again. And once again, the second chance that I talk about that makes our American our culture so great, we all have that opportunity, and we saw with Jim a chance to come back, and not only come back as the player of the year, but also most valuable player in the Super Bowl game. It's a typical American dream of someone who just didn't give up.
Well, you know, I was going to ask you about this. I was just looking in the paper a couple days ago, and it says Raiders score big victory in Vegas. It says the Raiders just scored a huge victory in Vegas months before they'll even play a game in the new home. Apparently, what did they do? They raised some eyebrows when they sold their unfinished Henderson, Nevada headquarters and practice facility for $191 million and immediately leased it back. Basically, they flipped the 56 acres of land that they bought from the city of Henderson for only $6 million. And so they turned a profit of $185 million, more than 30 times their original, what they paid for it. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Land has increased a lot.
That is a lot. I mean, there's some very, I guess, smart business people on that one, and some strategy put in place. But you know, and this is what it comes to. I don't know the details of that, but keep in mind what our country comes down to. It's about folks who have a vision. They sit down, they make a strategy. There's some risk. There has to be risk always in the process. That's what you hope anyway. And from that risk, you can either lose a lot or gain a lot. And our free market says you take that risk and you make the right smart moves, you have a chance to make a profit. And that profit goes to now building something else. That's the American way. So, again, not knowing the details, that's a very smart strategy involved with that, obviously, to make that kind of revenue.
Hey, can you tell me what it was like to work with Madden on all this? When you talk about all the different personalities that are, you know, coming together, and
well, you know, unfortunately I missed John by 2 years.
Oh, by 2 years, okay.
Tom
Flores.
Oh, so that was with Flores. Okay, sorry.
But the environment was exactly the same. See, it's hard to explain when you and I remember looking around the room, sitting in the Super Bowl, getting ready to go out to play the biggest game of my life, looking around the room, and wanted to thank all the guys, because I looked and I saw guys like Jim Plunkett and Lester Hayes, Mr. Stickham.
Yeah.
You had John Matusak. These guys that watched from afar, respected from a Ted Hendricks, respected, and I'm sitting here with them in the same uniform, getting ready to go play the biggest game. And I wish I got up on this big chair and said, guys, thank you. Because it was such a great opportunity. But most importantly, because the personalities were so different. I was one of those quiet guys, but all I had to do was sit back and just watch these guys go for it and you just continue to laugh. Because you had crazy different players who just had their personality quirks, but they came together on Sunday and they just pulled together and made sure that their teammates came first. And I tell you guys, if we can understand that message and apply it to our country, we are such a diverse people. That's the power of who we are. We have different ideas, different visions, different solutions. But we come together in a culture and say, we need to make sure our kids win, that they have a better future than we do, that they're more hopeful, that they have less debt, all those things that a parent wants for a kid, we should be thinking about for our next generation.
And is the fact that you have on your resume being football player and Super Bowl winner, how much is that helping your congressional cause?
Well, I would say that win was a door opener for me. It's one thing to say you played in the NFL, but it's another thing to say that actually you won a game and wear a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of a conversation starter, it's a door opener.
Yeah.
But you still have to show up and produce.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, it gets you so far, but it does give you an opportunity to have a conversation. Right now, for instance, because I played Super Bowl, we're having a conversation that we might not have had if I was just with the Jets, playing 7, 8 years without winning.
Sure.
So it gives an opportunity to share the things that are very, very important. And what becomes less and less important over time is the ring itself. It's the lessons learned through the process, the message that comes from my upbringing, all those things that really can resonate to people. Let them know this is a great just need to make sure we pass that appreciation out to our kids.
Now, do you think the Raiders are going to be a success in Vegas?
You know what? I think that their timing is coming. I really believe that. First of all, it's going to be for sure to win for Vegas. It's a destination every single week. Just imagine this. People playing with the Denver Broncos, the fans, they can come to Vegas and spend a weekend and then stay until Monday and watch their team play against Raiders. So it's a win for Vegas. I think with Gruden at the helm and him getting a 10-year contract, he can develop this culture that's very difficult to develop today. You know, when I was growing up, coach meant something. You respect the coach. He was everything. You didn't disrespect the coach. Yeah. Nowadays, guys are making so much money, and they don't quite understand respect that we did in those days. They literally think they can sometimes run the show. So we have an opportunity for a coach to come in and tweak the coach the way that he wants to. One thing for sure, those players come there, they know he's the boss. He's not going to be fired. They might be, but he's not going to. He has a 10-year contract. So it allows him to do something that I would hope works out, because I love to see the old school culture that I kind of grew up in come back, where respect is big. Players know they come there, it's a job, and you act right or you get fired. I mean, it'd be kind of nice to get back to those old-fashioned ways.
Wow. Oh, hey, we're going to cut to another commercial break here. We have Burgess Owens on the phone. Burgess, you going to be able to stay with us one more segment?
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, because I want to talk about this something that happened with some memorabilia for Kobe, and we'll get your opinion on this. So here's our second trivia question, and then now this one's an easy one. All right, I had to give an easy one for Russell here. Who is the only person to win the Heisman Trophy twice? Uh-oh, you tell me you don't know that one? Holy smokes.
Wow.
I know that one. I'm sorry. I like to tease Russell because sometimes he knows stuff. I go, holy smoke, I didn't have any idea about that. So that's our trivia question. Email Edward at SportsEcon101 the answer to this question. Who is the only person to win the Heisman Trophy twice? And unlike Grover Cleveland being president, this guy actually won it 2 years in a row. You know, Grover Cleveland didn't win 2 years. I thought I'd throw that in there. All right, you're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. We have too much fun here, I'll tell you.
So do we answer that when we come back also?
Yeah, you will answer that one.
Okay.
I remember, I think Russell was just a little bit too young for that, but not for old guys like you and me, 74 and 75.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to make a guess. This is one that might have gotten past me too, but I'm going to make a guess.
Okay. And, you know, it's funny because when he went into the pros, he just did not, I think he went to the Bengals. He just didn't make, you know, we were all thinking, man, this guy is just going to tear it up. You know, like Bo Jackson when he came in, you know, but no, this guy, he just, he didn't last that long.
Well, I appreciate that. It just took Bo Jackson off my list of people I had written down, so thank you for taking that off.
Oh, okay.
I can eliminate that one as an option. So.
Well, once I give you the answer, I know you'll know it.
Okay.
On that. You have to take a quick call?
Yeah.
Okay. How long are you going to be?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Oh, that long? Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. You know, it's so funny because Russell just stepped out of the room. He had to take a quick call. And it's kind of funny because Burgess, you and I are of similar minds, you know, more conservative, you know, God, country, and all that. And Russell is definitely more on the liberal. He's a nice guy, but he's definitely more liberal bent.
Yeah.
And then my other co-host who used to be with us was Bruce McGowan. Bruce had to take kind of a leave of absence with regard to
Bruce.
Remember Bruce? Yeah, he's been doing KCBS, and he's definitely left of center. So he and Russell get along pretty well. And I mean, we all get along, but it's kind of funny. We try not to dive too deep into the weeds because you can definitely lose perspective on that. So
get it. I totally get it.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead. Let's start. Right. If Russell comes back, he'll be fine. All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Russell Jackman and our special guest, Burgess Owens, who used to play for not only the Jets, but the Raiders. Hey, by the way, do you remember, Burgess, that, again, just to remind the audience who was tuning in a little bit late, Burgess was the only player in the Jets organization to score a kickoff return in all of the decade of the 1970s. Who did you do that against?
against Denver.
Denver. That's good.
Yeah.
I was saying you better remember that one.
Yeah.
All right.
My rookie year. Amazing how that process lasted so long.
Boy, I was going to say that must have been such a high when scoring that touchdown.
Yeah. It was fun.
All right. So here's our second trivia question. Who's the only person to win the Heisman Trophy twice?
Boy, I was thinking Bill Jackson, but you helped me to understand that wasn't it. Was great.
Yeah. Archie Griffin from Ohio State. Archie Griffin, remember that? Yeah, we were talking off air how for some reason when he got into the pros, he I think he went to the Bengals because they were the worst team in '73, and he just didn't last that long.
He didn't last. I remember that.
So who was it?
Archie Griffin.
USC, was it USC that he came out of? Or?
Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah. Ohio State.
So, I mean, he was phenomenal in college, but there's a big difference between college and pros, isn't there?
It is. It's not only a difference in the competition, but there's also if you're fortunate to be with the right team where your talent can be highlighted. Because sometimes it's just a matter of getting a better line. There's a lot of things that go on. I was very fortunate to play with the Jets, and they needed some defensive backs. So I was able to really do it pretty well. But half the battle, not only your talent, but where you fit in, and you have the talent around you where you kind of show up.
And it was
thank goodness I ended up with the Raiders, who had a lot of talent around me, and I had the chance to at the very end of my career. It feels good to have won for sure.
Sure. Did Broadway Joe retire before you? I can't remember what year he retired.
I played with Joe for 3 years. Really good guy. It was his last 3 years, my first 3 years. And the one thing about that era, it was during a time when they didn't draft quarterbacks to give their starting quarterbacks any pressure. So when Joe would go down on an injury, our season was done with. I remember I think my second year, the third game, he got hurt, and we knew the rest of the year was done because we didn't have a backup that was even close to being a competitive. So it was exciting to play with him because he was just a good guy and somebody I still respect today. The downside is that he was at the downside of his career when winning football games, and after a while, I just very, very old.
Well, it's interesting you talk about the backup quarterbacks because I still remember when Johnny Unitas got hurt, Earl Morrall came in and was phenomenal. And then when he got traded to the Dolphins, when Bob Greasy got hurt, Earl Morrall came in again. They called him the Cinderella Man. So they did have those backup quarterbacks, but gosh, if you were on a team that didn't have a good one, man, yeah, you're right. I can see you're being done.
Remember the backup quarterback for the Raiders, and it's going to come to mind in a minute. He was also the kicker.
George Blanda.
George Blanda.
Yeah, he was good.
That's when I was a kid. To see an older guy like that to come in, he's quarterback, and then he go back and kick a field goal.
Yeah.
It was a backup the whole time, so it was kind of cool. That, again, it's the creativity of the teams in those days, and players really stepping up and just doing whatever it takes to make it happen. And, it was a day when you get a little woozy, get a hit, get woozy, they put that little sauce in your nose.
Yeah.
You stick the head, you go back out in the field.
That's it. And it's funny because a lot of people don't remember Daryl LaMonica. And that guy could throw like 80-something yards, perfect spiral. He never got enough credit for what he could do. So, hey, moving on here, I have a couple of things I want to talk about. One is, so an online marketplace, eBay, we all know them, right, is refusing to sell any memorabilia from Kobe or Gianna Bryant's public memorial due to a policy that prohibits sellers from profiting off of human tragedy or suffering. But it says here, Nate D. Sanders Auctions is hosting a Kobe Bryant auction on Thursday featuring one of his jerseys from his All-Star season in 1998-99, and the bidding for the jersey starts at $20,000. So it's kind of interesting that they also include several basketballs signed by Bryant, which starting at $3,750 a piece, as well as trading cards and all that. And it's sort of like, okay, man, you just said that you're not going to be able to profit, but then no, it's not. That's eBay, and then you got another auction house which is profiting from it. Kind of,
yeah.
What do you think?
Well, and this is where the emotions that we all have kind of up against the free market, because the free market says if somebody wants to have someone they respect, a members of their life, they should be able to get it, and those somebody who has it should be able to sell it. At the same time, it's such a short time of mourning, and that's one thing that Kobe, his life really impacted all of our lives. It's an interesting way that happened because it wasn't just his performance on the basketball field, basketball court, the commitment to excellence, but it's what he did with his kids and his wife and his family afterwards that we look to and say, he left a legacy that we all look forward to making sure that we kind of be part of that process. To go through ups and downs, but at the end of the day, have people respect you because of the man that you are and the man that you were. So it's a tough call there, and I don't know if we have an answer. At the end of the day, it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
We want to have a piece of Kobe and his talents and his memory, and that's what comes through things like the memorabilia.
And how long will eBay keep that policy in force? Right. I mean, if it's 3 years from now, are they going to not allow people to sell any Kobe Bryant jerseys or anything?
Yeah. Well, you have to kind of. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, there's a good question. So what is the red line? At what point do you say, okay, now you can do that? And either there's another company that allows for people to trade and buy and sell like that. It will give those other companies the opportunity to probably maybe make a little foot.
Yeah, there's nothing illegal about it.
No, it's not illegal.
Yeah,
they were just trying to policy, prohibiting from human tragedy. Moving on, one last thing here that I want to bring up, and I'll let you guys talk about whatever you want. The Olympics in Japan, I wonder how much the coronavirus is going to affect.
Oh, that's a big one, isn't it?
There's already a school in Healdsburg, California, that is canceling class because of the coronavirus. And you think about the fact that might not, have a solution till April. Are they going to keep the kids out of school till April?
And then extend their school year?
I don't know. I mean, how do you know when your kids aren't going to get infected by a virus? It's not like there's a stopwatch you can put on.
Yeah. And here's the other side of it is that someone who just, I think, passed away yesterday was actually, they knew he was infected. They put him in quarantine for a couple of weeks, and they thought he was okay. He came out, and he wasn't okay. So this is one of those things, guys. We face the unknown so many times in our country's lifetime. So we do. The key to it, what makes us unique and different, is that we will be creative enough to figure out, number one, what is the solution. I have a feeling we'll be the ones to come up with a solution for this. In the meanwhile, we're going to have to be very creative in how to protect those around us that we love. I'm sitting at right now and looking at a Congress session in Salt Lake City. We're now going around and fist pumping instead of shaking hands because people now aware this is something we have to be careful about. So we're having the right conversation. We don't have the answers yet, but I can promise you, of all the countries who come up with the right solution and protect their people the best, we're going to do that.
Every place that has hand sanitizer is sold out.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. But I heard Israel was working on something that theoretically in 90 days they're going to have something.
Well, I should put them into that mixture, right? Those guys are so much solution oriented.
Yeah.
90 days though, the lifespan of that virus will probably be passed anyway. So it'll probably be.
That's what we hope. But I tell you what, one thing for sure, whoever comes up with a solution, the free market is going to reward them big time. And what I'm hoping is that we do that as a country, and then what we do best, we produce it and we will share it. We'll share it with the entire world.
See, that's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that we're going to do the exact opposite. And if we do come up with a cure, we're going to sell it to the highest bidder. That's the system we have now.
Well, when you say we, you're talking about a specific pharmaceutical company? Because it's not the United States in general.
No, it won't be. It'll be some pharmaceutical company will do like they've done for everything else that they come up with.
You can get a flu shot for free.
Yeah, but that's because the government subsidizes it.
But I mean, don't you think they do that for
we have shown no indication of saying that we would pay, that the government would pay for something like that.
This is my thought, the way that we normally operate. When we see misery around the world, we're the ones that show up.
Yeah.
The ones that go out there.
If we think we can make some money off of it.
No.
Talk to the people of Puerto Rico. Talk to people of
what about Africa?
And Haiti.
Right.
Talk to people of Haiti about how much, and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, they're American citizens. And that country still hasn't been rebuilt after all those years.
Yeah, but we can't. No, but I'm talking. But what about the ones that we do help that we're not getting anything? Like Darfur.
I'd like to see us do something about Puerto Rico.
Well, of course we can't have. But
they're actually U.S. citizens.
I understand.
We don't do anything about it.
But I guess what Burgess was saying was that it's like we sometimes we do help countries and situations where we don't get anything in benefit. I mean, again,
I've tried to be quiet about all of this, to be polite about it, but this is the part where I'm not going to sit back.
Can I add one thought? Because I had a chance to go to Haiti last year, and you talk about a dark country, a place that's no hope. But that's the reason why there's no hope. It's not because there's not people plowing in information or help. It's because it's corruption. When you have a country where people are not in that country, not looking out for their own people, that they take the money and they steal. That's where you have a big place like Haiti. It's a problem, unfortunately, even with Puerto Rico. The young lady who was overseeing the whole process has now been charged with fraud because they've taken millions and millions of dollars that should have gone to the people and pocketed. So it's not that we don't give. We give more than any country in the history of mankind. That's what we do. It's natural with us. It's on the other side, do they take and give back, or do they take and pocket? And across around the world, there's corruption throughout Africa, Haiti. And I tell you, Haiti is a place you show up for 3 hours, you want to go home because there's so much, unfortunately, so much darkness down there and hopelessness. So it's not that America's not doing their job. We do our best, but countries have to do their best also.
Well, yeah, there was someone that turned me on to a movie called, I think it was called Poverty Inc. And it basically showed how we help, we help countries. I think they were talking specifically at some part of Africa, and when they got in there and they talked to the Africans themselves, they said, you know what, we need a helping hand, but we don't need you to just give us all this free rice, because what ends up happening is all the farmers who were producing all these crops, they're going out of business, because why would anyone pay for stuff if they can get it for free?
Get free.
So the subsidized, you got to be like when there's a disaster, yeah, you help, but then you get out and let the country fend, quote, fend for themselves. It seemed to be that seemed to be the best.
That's the truth that goes across the board, guys. That's why in this country we call it meritocracy. I grew up in a community where we were very, very proud of how hard we worked. Matter of fact, I decided to take a biology to graduate in biology when I left Tallahassee to go to the University of Miami. I was the third Black American to go to the University of Miami.
Wow.
And when I went to Miami, I went to get a biology degree. And when I remember in my third year in college, I decided I didn't want to do biology anymore. I didn't want to do marine biology. The reason why I kept going is because when I left high school, there was a guy who said I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think the Blacks were smart enough to do it. So I lived in that library, not because I loved marine biology so much, because I wanted to prove that guy wrong.
Wow.
It's the way we are, guys. And if we adapt that again, I don't care what culture we are, we adapt that again. Tell me I can, and I'll show you why we can. Don't give me something free. Give me a handout, not a handout.
There you go.
We do that again, and we'll be in good shape.
Well, that old saying, give a man a fish, he's got fish for a day, teach him to fish, and he'll sit in a boat drinking beer all day long. All right, here's our third trivia question. I figured I'd get you on that one. Who holds the major league record for career strikeouts as a batter? So we got a baseball question here. Who holds the major league record for career strikeouts as a batter? All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back for some closing comments. I figured you liked that one, Burgess.
Oh, I love it. Here's that one. I think I have an answer, by the way. I'm going to
really? Okay.
So Russell, let's see, buddy, if I can get you on this one, okay?
All right. Well, let's see.
I got it.
Well, what year are we talking about?
No.
Well, okay, let's put it this way. You'll know the name, and it's not from like the early 1900s.
Okay, well that's good.
So that gives you a hint.
Okay.
You'll definitely know the name.
Does it help a little bit? Russell.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
The smoke is coming out of his ears. He's thinking so hard. Hey, Burgess, how old are you now?
I am 68.
Holy smokes,
Wow.
you sound like you're 40.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping my energy level stays on strong, and I hope that
That's it.
I come from a good stock. My dad was able to do some good things all the way to his late 80s, and I hope I can keep that track going.
Well, I just turned 60, and I don't feel a day over 59.
Listen, can you believe how fast it comes and goes?
Oh my gosh! It's like
there was a time, and I don't think Russell probably a little bit younger than others, but there was a time when that was old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
I know. It's strange. When I hit 50, it was like, yeah, no big deal. Hitting 60, though, was like, oh my gosh, that's
Senior citizen.
That's it. I'm waiting for my Denny's discount here. All right. We only have just a quick minute here, so we'll make this really fast. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman and our special guest, Burgess Owens. Question number 3. Who holds the major league record for strikeouts, career strikeouts as a batter? Anyone?
Babe Ruth.
No.
No, I'd say I was going to go with Hank Aaron.
No, but another power hitter though, who has a lot of home runs also. Reggie Jackson.
Oh wow,
He holds the record.
thought
Yeah,
of
big
it.
strikeout. I mean, you know what? Babe Ruth would have been a good answer because he did strike out a lot.
I just know that Hank Aaron didn't have a super average.
No.
So I was thinking that might be.
No, but he was a good home run hitter.
Yeah.
Anyway, Burgess, it was awesome to have you on the show yet again. We'll definitely have to have you on. Hopefully, you'll win your congressional seat. And here's our thoughts for the day. Every champion was once a contender that refused to give up. Isn't that true?
Or got lucky.
Well, no, but I mean, he refused to give up, right? At one point, he was a contender. I could have been a contender. And one time I was in the gym when I saw a beautiful blonde pass by, and I asked the trainer standing next to me, what machine I should use to impress her? He looked me up and down and said, I recommend the ATM in the lobby. But I'm bumped.
Or a hearse.
Ouch. Or a hearse. Yeah, that's not a machine. That doesn't help me. All right. Burgess Owens, thank you again for joining us. For those who will remember, Burgess won a Super Bowl with the Raiders against the Eagles. Are you still watching a lot of football?
I really don't watch nowadays. Raising 6 kids, kind of put a focus on.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But Ed and Russell, I really appreciate that too. Help you guys. It's a fun time with you. And
absolutely.
Let's do it again.
Well,
all right,
absolutely. Thanks again.
Thanks for being our guest.
Okay.
All right, and with that, we're gonna cut out. So here's our closing thoughts.
That you already gave it.
We are closing thoughts, but here's our
really
final here's our final line. Tune in next week to the best of investing. See, I do the other show. And you got me all just combined with that. I gotta read this. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective. We'll also be asking sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week. You should say good night, America.
Yeah, good night, America.
So long. Yeah, Burton wasn't here to say that, so we have to have you say it. So it's funny, I got to start this way earlier because we got 9 minutes to go.
We do?
On this.
Oh, but wonder how that happened. Yeah, well, yeah, because it's still like 10:50.
Yeah.
So we still.
He's a good guy. Burton's a good guy.
Well,
I know you don't.
I couldn't. Yeah, I was having to say nothing at all because I didn't want to.
Listen, a little controversy is good. And I know
don't know if America comes up with a virus cure, they're going to try to sell it to the highest bidder. They're not going to give it away. That's the kind of health system we have now. It's profit based.
Well, I mean, what do they do with AIDS though? They've been giving a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
away,
you don't just get AIDS from airborne particles. There's the number of people that get AIDS are infinitesimally small compared to a pandemic virus like what we're talking about.
I just wonder if they will subsidize it like the flu.
I don't think they will. I think they're going to try to make money off of it because that's all they've ever tried to do anyway.
Let's see here. All right, so let's send this bad boy off.
Did you want to try setting up way back?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, so this is.
Because then, yeah, you wouldn't have to do and copy it over.
Exactly. It would be. That would be nice. Okay, here we go. USB here. There we go. Sports Econ 1. Yeah, it was interesting. The way I got introduced to Burgess was because
church thing.
No, actually not. Deb Brown, who her dad was a famous golfer, went to school with him, and so she said, "Oh, you should have him on the show." And so we had him on a couple of years ago, and it was fun. Talked about the Raiders and Al Davis and all that fun stuff. You know, I tried to, I texted Bruce. He texted
Yes.
back, but then he kind of dropped the ball. Have you talked to him at all?
Just on, on see him
Facebook.
on Facebook. Yeah, general.
Yeah, what's going on with that young man? Okay, and then here. Yeah, that was the first time I ever had a trivia question where the guest was the answer.
Yeah, that is pretty well.
But can you imagine that the entire 1970s?
That is kind of
crazy?
amazing. I would have never thought.
I'd never have guessed that. Yeah, the Jets in the mid 70s were just
Well, they were
awful.
pretty bad. That's why I wasn't paying too much attention
Yeah.
to them.
That's why they only had one kickoff return, too.
Yeah, that's pretty pathetic. So yeah, go to like your web browser and then go and it's WavePad 10.17 free.
Hold on here. Let me.
And then if we can unplug the.
All right. So now you said go to web browser and what's it called?
WavePad
WavePad
10.17.
10.17.
That's the one I was using over here. And you can use it.
Free download video help. Is that what we want?
Let me see.
So it says videohelp.com.
No, the NCH one. Go back up.
Oh, NCH, there it is. I hate when they do those.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yes.
That's the one?
Go ahead and download now.
Oh, okay.
And run. You say you use it for non-commercial use. I don't know how they would ever be able to tell that you're using it commercially.
Save it in downloads?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no money being made off this, so.
Exactly. Well, technically it's commercial, but again, how would they know? I have no idea. Unless we announce, yes, we're making this with WavePad.
Okay, it says 100 done, 100%.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Close it.
Run it.
It doesn't.
Down on the lower left-hand side.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someday they're gonna have. By the way, will you let us
Yeah,
get into your bank account for
Right,
free?
and your children and
Yeah.
children's children will be slaves of our company.
Okay, so what's this? Probably new. Create a new file.
Yeah, well, first thing we want to do is we want to go to the tools. I'm sorry, up to down over to options. We want to go and tools at the very top.
Oh.
Although I think you know what, the options that you clicked on is fine.
Okay.
And then we're going to go to recording up at the top. And so you're going to change the input from the record mixer to, or a device from at the top there, where it says default sound in. Up, yeah, hit that.
Okay.
And then microphone. Okay, now.
Oh, I've got to plug this back in.
That's right.
Let me do these bad guys again. No, go ahead.
I just need to check the coupon. Edward, I got a rush. You know that I'm heading up to Lighthouse right
that's
now.
right.
And
Yeah,
then
I had all those things.
I didn't see the envelope. I didn't have the envelope, crazies. That's
no,
why.
they were there.
No, they
were.
They were not. Oh my God! Edward, I love you. Behave.
Yeah, but they were. You put them. Yes, you put them in like you put it just like this, but you have to just open it up here and the one's in there.
Fine. I'm not gonna argue with you, but no, they weren't. Okay.
I know. Look at me. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Fine.
Okay.
Do you have time to go to the bank for me today, Wells Fargo? Put that deposit in.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, you want to plug it into the microphone.
Okay, but now I gotta take. Right, I gotta take
Right.
this one here. Thank you.
Okay.
18.
Here's the deposit slips in there. That's
Okay,
equity
thanks.
for it. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
You should have a front-based one.
Yeah, I'm hoping that fits. Well, this one here. So what's this one? What is that for? Maybe it's, well, it said headphones, but, or maybe, you know what? Let me do, I bought this thing, might as well use it.
I think you'd want to use the straight
Well, this-
microphone jack instead.
Well, that, it doesn't say microphone jack, though. That it looks like it's more of a headphone one, whereas this one,
Well, then it'd be on the back. It would be. No, you want to put it in the.
the
You
green
want to
one,
put it in the pink
the
one.
pink one.
Yes.
Didn't know that. Oh, there it is. You're right. Okay.
All right. So we're going to.
Okay, and we are saying goodbye. Goodbye.